face a steep excise tax on the sale of their products until they come to the table. If they're price gouging, if they're raising their prices above the rate of inflation, say for an older drug, they're going to pay a penalty. And then we have new significant relief for seniors who, when they get mugged at the pharmacy counter, come home and say they just can't pay all the bills. And our legislation puts a new $2,000 out-of-pocket cap on Medicare Part D so that seniors are no longer forced to choose between paying for medicine.
During a roundtable with Elizabeth Warren and union leaders, Schumer said there was a false narrative about whose student debt cancellation would benefit. Schumer stated, "Let's dispel one awful myth right here. That is not a problem that concerns the wealthy or the Ivy League. It's affecting working class people." Schumer also appeared to be speaking directly to Biden, who has repeatedly framed canceling student debt as a handout to the well-off. Schumer and lawmakers have made it clear that they will continue to push for student debt cancellation, and the Biden administration is grappling with the fact that the idea of student debt forgiveness infuriates many Americans, including those who never borrowed for their education or went to college. Taxes on employees making more than $400,000. The bill has gained some support, but has so far stalled in Congress. A big update, everybody. For Social Security and stimulus checks, eligible people can start applying today for additional stimulus assistance, and there are several programs that have been created that are aimed to providing financial help to Americans during this time. Today, people in Connecticut were able to start applying for a tax rebate just for families. The rebate, which was created as part of the budget bill that the governor signed into law last month, provides taxpayers with a state tax rebate of up to $250 per child for a maximum of 3 children. Any Connecticut resident who claimed at least one dependent, 18 or younger, on their 2021 tax return may be eligible as well. And while not everyone was qualified to receive the rebate, the Department of Revenue Services estimated more than 300,000 households can meet eligibility. Those applicants may see the extra money relatively soon. The filer status income threshold is single to married filing separately $100,000 or less and head of households. The rebate is for middle class families. However, those who have higher income rates may be eligible to receive a reduced rebate based on their income. The period to apply began this week and ends on July 31st. The Department of Revenue Services said eligible families should start to receive their rebates in late August, right before the start of the new school year. The rebate came as the Biden administration pushed inflation as a top priority. It recently announced proposals aimed at boosting the U.S. economy. However, some of the presidential plans will need support of Congress, which could be a challenge. Governor Lyman said, "We created the state tax rebate to give Connecticut families with children additional relief. The application period is now open, and I strongly urge all families who claimed at least one dependent child on their 2021 tax return to submit an application as soon as possible, so that this rebate can be sent to you with no delays." When asked about rising inflation, McConnell told reporters, "We're going to have to squeeze this inflation down and get past the problems created by the Democratic government." Fewer Americans applied for jobless aid last week, with the number of Americans collecting unemployment at historically low levels. The Labor Department reported that applications for unemployment benefits fell by 11,000 to 200,000 for the week ending May 28th. And first-time applications generally track the number of layoffs. The 4-week average for claims, which evens out some of the weekly volatility, dipped by 500 from the previous week to 206,000. The number of people collecting jobless benefits for the week ending May 21st from the previous week also fell, down to 1.3 million, the fewest since December 1969. Experts say that the government and American workers are enjoying historically strong job security 2 years after the crisis plunged the economy. Experts say that American workers Now, weekly applications for unemployment aid have been consistently below the pre-crisis level of 225,000 for most of 2022. Checks of $2,000 per family, which will be a political liability for Democrats if they fall. The governor, who is running for re-election, said the divided legislature should agree to a special session only to approve the checks. Republicans favor permanent income tax cuts this year. And during this year's legislative session, they unsuccessfully pushed to cut the rate in half on the state's bottom income tax bracket. All filers pay at least a portion of their income in that bracket. Since January, Wallace has proposed 3 rebate checks, the check size growing each time. The stimulus checks sent out during the crisis were very popular. Nearly 4 in 5 voters were in support of it, and Democrats rally behind this in Washington. The popularity of the payments and findings that they reduce poverty are being a great tool for Democrats and Republicans this year.
Inflation Reduction Act, of course, everybody's encouraged. Except, as previously noted, the Wharton School of Business says that it actually increases inflation for the couple of years. The CBO says it has a negligible effect one way or the other on inflation. Bottom line, it does not decrease inflation. In fact, I go back to that current inflation state we're in. Remember the American Rescue Plan passed on a partisan basis. I now call that the American Recession Plan. And this could be the American Recession Plan 2.0. And if it does drive us into a recession, it will decrease inflation because people won't have the income by which to pay for that which they have to buy. Now, by the way, why do I say that? Well, 50% of the book value tax is on manufacturers. We are in an international jobs war. Countries around the world, particularly China, are subsidizing manufacturers to move there, and they subsidize them in a variety of ways. I would love to be pure, free market, my gosh, let's get government out of everything. And we're losing the jobs war. And Congress saw that we were losing the jobs war and began giving credits, like we did in the CHIPS bill, for manufacturers to return. Now, the left is looking at this and saying, those manufacturers, we've had an increased number of manufacturing jobs. It's been going pretty well. They've been taking care of that which Congress has used to incentivize them to come back and to hire more Americans. But we don't like that. We're going to pay more. We're going to make them pay more. Now, the National Association of Manufacturers says that it will kill 200,000 jobs here in the U.S. CBO says it will decrease investment in manufacturing. If you want to lose a manufacturing war, this is what you do. But if you want to win, you don't do it. And I would say that Republicans want to win that, and this bill shows that Democrats wish to lose. Let me mention one more thing not commented on yet, the climate impact. Now, the bill says that they are going to reduce emissions since 2005 by 40%. Now, what they don't tell you, now that has not been independently verified. One organization said it's more like 35%. What they don't tell you is that we've already reduced emissions since 2005 by 17%. We're halfway to their goal. Under current law, we're scheduled to reduce emissions to 34% by 2030. So we're almost there, and the improvement is marginal. But they're only speaking about U.S. emissions, not global emissions. And so since initially, at least, they're going to be driving manufacturing in Asia, particularly China, to be producing the batteries and other things that come here for their EVs, we could have global greenhouse gas emissions get worse. Now, if they really want to tout the climate benefits, then they should come clean as to what their analysis is and why are they not also including the increased emissions that will occur in other countries